Hey, good evening from Los Angeles. I'm going to read another little piece from this book that I shared last night, Being Spiritual, Staying Practical by Swami Sarvagatananda. And in the journal style writing, this is from January 13th, 1977. So I was 12 years old then, actually. He says, never be a slave to anybody. Never try to please others for a smile or a favor. Never expect anything from anybody. If there is no expectation, there will be no disappointment. Love all, care for all, but in a detached, impersonal way. Don't do it in order for people to like you or for them to do some kind of favor for you. That's the way to slavery. Always feel I don't expect anything from anybody, and don't be a slave to anybody. The best way to guard against this is to always be alert. If you are slavishly trying to please others, then forget about your spiritual realization. How can you surrender to the divine if your mind is elsewhere and you are selling your soul to them in return? Constantly ask yourself, what is my motive? Carefully analyze whether you are seeking some kind of favor and therefore selling yourself into slavery. Be the slave only of the divine. Seek to please only the divine. I am your slave. He is a jealous God. Give your whole heart. If you don't, he feels you don't really want me because you have surrendered to something or someone other. And so this notion, not to worry about the fruit of action. Do everything for its own sake in the moment as an offering to your highest ideal. Many of us are Advaitins, or we like this idea of one without a second. Thou art that, I am the divine. But that's a dangerous way of thinking in the beginning because our sense of I is attached to an ego. And it's not the ego self, not the individuated particular self that is divine. It's the nature before it goes through your mind, before it goes through the body, that is the divine nature, that is God. And so these ideas are paths to reach a state of clear thinking to where you can understand the separateness of the self from ego, the separateness of the self from body. And in that you find the truth, that thou art that you are divine in your nature. And before we get to that, anything that we don't consider ourselves, the whole world out there, the whole universe or multiple universes or whatever is out there, is what we call God. It's a working placeholder until we come to know the full truth. But the sages say that it's not make-believe. If you're an ego self, God exists. It's when you surrender the ego, when you surrender your sense of separateness from the whole, that you come to realize that you are that one without a second, that you're free from the bondage of the needs of body and mind, the definitions of body and mind that cause you to think in small ways that are selfish and destructive to your inner peace, to your being. So when we surrender to God as such, we're not surrendering to a third party domineering, dictator in the sky. We're actually surrendering to our highest sense of self, our highest ideal of love, our highest ideal of being. And in that and through that, we become pure. And what does pure mean? It means no sense of me or mine in any of our actions, which is what he's describing in that paragraph. As long as you have expectations from others, you're enslaved to others. As long as you're wanting some kind of result or payment in return for your actions, you're a slave to those actions. As long as you believe that you're getting something from your vices, you're a slave to your vices. And since the pleasures or results that you get from your actions are always temporary, if you buy into them, you're in a cycle. You'll have to repeat those actions over and over and over again. And that is slavery.